I understand, but I at least want to give them the opportunity, because I don't think that I have the right to make a decision for them. You know, I don't want to disinclude someone from the conversation because I think they're too dumb to get it, or that, you know, the lie would be more important to them. That said, if you want to know how I get up in the morning, I remember something really simple, man. I'm not that special. And I'm not so special that I'm not so unique that my depression is something other people don't go through. And I'm not so special that the mistake that I made yesterday that I can't stop thinking about, that I'm beating myself up about, my neighbors don't even know anything about it, and their lives are not impacted by it. Right. I'm not so freaking special that it's changing the world. I have an opportunity. The relationship that didn't work out, you know, you're not so special that that was the one and they're gone forever. You know, that is a beautiful, amazing thing. It's a relief to know that the world isn't hinging on your shoulders and you have to carry it with you. But the fact that you're building it, you know, there's an absurdism that I deeply appreciate. But that's how I do it. That's not how everybody has to, but that's what I do.
Okay, I got it. Okay, Thank you so much for taking my call, Eric. Thank you, Heathen.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care, man.
It was nice talking to you.
Yeah, that was good. It felt like it actually, like, it didn't have a hard, like a weird end. It was a nice round call.
Right. And kind of going off what you said a moment ago about, like, you know, making sure someone's prepared to engage and engaging at their level and being a charitable listener. That is so important. And I kind of compare these conversations I have to martial arts. And here's what I mean. Like, I did not have the necessary critical thinking skills to understand what fallacies, you know, bad arguments or things like that were. You know, I didn't know. Now, if someone, say, comes into the gym and they want to, hey, try Muay Thai out. Well, if I immediately just start attacking them with punch after punch after punch, they don't know what hit them. It's kind of crappy. So what I do is I recognize, okay, they may not have these skills. So I need to take them and walk them through from step A through B through C through D. It's just try and be as compassionate as you can when engaging with people, and, you know, respect their triggers or things they don't want to talk about.
Agreed. I just saw a message in the live chat that I kind of want to call out. Hannah Vaughn, one of your co-hosts and one of my roommates, is someone who I deeply appreciate. Hannah, we love you. And I think that that's something else that we should do. If you haven't called somebody to tell them that you appreciate them today, you should do that. You know, tell them you love them. It doesn't cost a lot, and it can be so incredibly meaningful for the people around you.
Yes.
Let them know what they mean to you.
I try and do that, like, on Facebook. Like, I'll randomly send messages to people, hey, I'm thinking about you. How you doing? Because
you do that. Yes, know. I've received a message from you before. Yes.
You never know when someone's having a bad day or when they're at their worst. So it's important to just show people you care. The smallest acts of kindness go a long way.
Agreed. Heathen, I know that there's a hard stop at 3 because we don't want to run into the nonprofits time, but we have a really, really active community that really wants to talk to us. And so I really want to go to the Discord soon. So that said, can we see our crew? Because our crew is amazing. Hello, everyone. Oh, you're welcome. So he says, thanks, Eric, this week. But last week, if you look on AXP, he burned an effigy of me. Thank you so much. It is your work. It is your amazing volunteering behind the scenes that is making this happen. We could not do this without you. And I want to thank you so much for also Dan Earls. Happy birthday, man. We're sending you love. And with that said, Heathen, can you help me put up some love rings?
Yeah, wait. Okay.
All right, ready? 1, 2.
Wait. Oh, can I do it like a Kamehameha from Dragon Ball Z? Like
you do if you do it from the other direction, because that's where the love rings come up. Yeah, perfect.
This
ready?
Direction? Okay.
Yep. 1, 2, 3.
Ha! Oh, that worked!
All right. So we put out the call for people who want to support Black non-believers, and we have raised almost $900 during this show from a whole bunch of people, tons and tons of people who wanted to kick in and go, you know what, we support the cause. Mandisa, we love you, and we hope everything works out. Thank you all. Thank you. While you're watching this right now, you better write down that Discord at tiny.cc tiny.cc/ACA Discord. That is the link to join us on Discord. We're going there in just a few minutes.
In this video, I'm going to show you.
So for those of you,
so you can see
whether you believe or not,
all I need to do for this is click on Reddit over here. And you'll then see all of these features, right? So this is where you'd normally change this setting, but you'll see that it's not showing up in here. So you want to click on the cross, click on the live stream settings icon in the top right corner, and then here's where you can see live stream settings icon in the top right corner. And then here's where you can see live chat. So you'll see details, monetization, and then live chat. Click on live chat, of course, and then at the top you'll see
people involved, and also we
in your belief, if we just you to do that, but okay. Oh, and also I heard he went with our producer out for dinner for his birthday, and he made Greg eat vegan food, and Greg's been paying for it all morning.
What is his stomach upset or something?
I don't know. I didn't want to ask. So for our regular announcements, there's going to be a new episode of The Nonprofits at 3:00 after this show. And Talk Heathen is a product of the Atheist Community of Austin. It's also a 501c3 nonprofit. And if you want to support us, please consider going to patreon.com/talkheathen-to-me. That's patreon.com/talkheathen-to-me. We're 2/3 of the way through the episode. I thank our top 5 patrons. I've got it up on the screen. I refresh it immediately and do that. So if you want to hear your name read today, go to patreon.com/talkheathen-to-me and become one of our top 5 patrons.
Ooh, that's a lot of stuff.
It is a lot of stuff. Are you ready to dive into calls, man? I think we've been teasing these people long enough.
Sure. And anyone watching, theists, please, I want to talk to you. Give us a call right now. Numbers at the bottom of the screen. But yeah, I'm ready to do this.
All right, let's start by talking to Joe in New York. Joe, you're live with Eric and Ethan. How are you doing today?
Hey, Joe.
Hey. Hi.
Hey, you've called in before, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I think we had a good conversation. I'm glad you called back.
Yeah,
So
well, this is something totally different, but...
Okay, well, what did you want to talk about?
I wanted to say that I don't think atheists are choosing to use common sense when they analyze evidence for God.
Oh, God. Could you give me an example of what you mean by that?
Yeah.
Define common sense.
Well, for example, the idea that something can come from nothing.
Have we ever said that? Have I or Ethan said that before?
I haven't.
Well, when I say nothing, what I mean is...
I know, I get it, but I'm asking you if you've heard me or Ethan say that, because just like last time you called in, you're painting with a pretty broad brush. I'm happy to talk to you about the concept of it, but I want to be fair to everybody here.
Yeah, all right. So maybe you can be the first atheist to actually explain this to me, because
sure,
I've been in a lot of arguments with YouTube atheists who they don't make sense to me. I don't get what they're saying about the origin of the universe.
Sure. Let's talk about what the claim is, right? Because the claim is usually brought to us as God created the universe. And so we ask, okay, how do you know that? Now, there are a number of theists who will respond, well, if God didn't do it, then nothing did it. And how can you say that nothing did it? And what that's actually doing is that's taking the burden of evidence, right? If you're making a claim, if you're saying something happened and we ask you to show evidence of it, right? That's on you to do that. But the idea of flipping that back the other way is shifting the burden of evidence. So my question for you is that what's keeping you believing in a God? I mean, is the idea that you haven't talked to an atheist who has given you a different proposition? Is that what's holding you to the God belief?
Not entirely, no.
Okay. Would it change the confidence you have in your belief if we dissuaded you from this argument?
I doubt it.
So this sounds like really fun sparring, but it doesn't sound like it's going to get us anywhere. And I'm happy to talk about it. I don't want you to think I'm sloughing it off, or I'm not trying to shirk responsibility. There we go. Shuck. What the fuck am I thinking? But I also want to make sure that the time that we're spending together, the time that we're talking to each other, is beneficial for all involved. Like if you were to show evidence that your God belief, that your God created the universe, I'd listen. And if I was convinced, I would become convinced. And I would hope that you're coming in open as an honest interlocutor as well.
Yeah, and to kind of echo what Eric said, I can't speak for him or other atheists. There is a big part of me that still wants to believe there is a God and an afterlife. And the reason I think like that is, for instance, about 10 years ago, I lost my brother. I want to see him again. The idea of an afterlife where I get a hug from him again is like the best thought ever. But just because I want to believe, I'm not going to let my want supersede my need for the truth. So what evidence could you perhaps supply that would be more convincing to us?
I think that in part, that's the idea that how important is it that what you believe is true?
I mean, for me, it's miracles that happen in people's lives.
Okay. So
I've had I've had a miracle happen to, or more than one miracle happen to me, and I've heard of other miracles happening to other people.
How do you define a miracle?
And I don't look at them as random coincidences. I see them as something that was orchestrated.
So I guess question. I'm trying the street epistemology approach with you because the way you came in, at least in the show notes, it sounded like you were atheists are doing this, and so I'm kind of trying to deconstruct a little bit here. If we were to kind of shift that view on miracles, would that change your confidence level when it comes to a God belief? And I mean, going from 99 to 98.9 is still a change. Right. Like, I'm not saying from 100 to 0, just adjusting, changing.
And most importantly, don't you think it's, Joe, it's important to come to the table with an open mind and not necessarily close yourself off to other possibilities? Like, for instance, I'm not going to say God does not exist or God did not do this. Hey, if there's evidence for God, it will convince me. But is that louder? Wow, ADHD brain just went out the window. That happens.
No worries, man. No worries.
Can I just point out, holy crap, this is like the most nervous I've ever been. This is exciting. Holy crap, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to process.
No worries.
Right now. So
it's okay, brother. That's really, really good. Joe, go ahead, Heathen.
Important to come to the table with an open mind.
So apparently I'm really quiet.
Yeah.
Is that better? Is my volume
then
better
that makes 3 of us. Cool. Okay, so then I know you wanted to talk about common sense, but it sounds like this conversation might be better served if we talk about miracles. Would you agree?
Okay.
No, I kind of wanted to explain something about common sense.
Well, I'm worried that you're going to talk at a straw man of an atheist or some atheist that's in your head that you dealt with online.
Okay, what's that like? Is that better?
I've definitely had
that looks like it should be better for the setup.
And tried to use Talk Heathen as a platform.
Am I more hearable now?
And so I want to make sure that we don't do that. So if you're not going to do that, I'm willing to listen. But if you feel
much
like
better, much better, as in better enough to be okay.
And to follow up on that,
I need to make a note of those
common
settings.
sense that you specifically don't think Eric and I are using? Because then we could address that.
Yeah, mainly what I said before, which you guys.
For those that don't know, this is called Talk Heathen. This program. It's a program that's on slightly earlier than the Atheist Experience. The Atheist Experience is on in about I don't know, about 50 minutes, something like that.
It's amazing,
and it's just a really good program.
But if you were to rewind time back to the instantiation,
it will challenge you. I think if you are
I don't know what happens at t=0 or t=1. I just don't.
Need to just switch across so that
what I think is when
we can
you make
always see Esgy.
I don't think you have the firepower to bring to the table to be convincing. That's the response is.
Cheers.
We're looking at the God claim and just determining whether or not it passes muster.
Yeah, Joe. You believe God created the universe, correct?
Yeah.
Come on, Joe.
So when you were looking into this and doing your research, how did you eliminate the possibility of, for example, aliens or something else creating the universe?
Aliens are like a finite thing, and God, to me,
God Almighty, a finite
infinite, thing. He's like everything and nothing at the same time. He's like this weird.
I find this kind of talk irritating.
How do you know that?
It's a he. So all you women out there, You're on the back heel here because God is a He.
Like the only
He is
way
everything
that your mind can
and nothing.
move into thinking. If you think about the origin of everything, it has to come from something extraordinary.
Right. Okay. Actually, because this program finished about 10 minutes ago, and I missed this bit of it. I do want to say this idea that is used by people who believe in God, that something can't come from nothing. It has to come from a God. This is rubbish. We have no evidence of something coming from nothing that we can identify, that we can investigate. There are no moments in our experiments where we can have nothing and then see whether something can come from it. We can't test that idea. So when people say something can't come from nothing, what they're doing is inferring a property on the universe, the property being something can't come from nothing. There has to be something there to make something happen. But we have no evidence of that. The argument is that everything that can happen in the universe, I know about. I know something can't come from nothing. There has to be something to create something. Well, why do you assume that you know everything that the universe can do? Why do you assume that you know everything that can happen? That the universe holds no secrets for you that you've never seen before? That's true. Yeah, no woman would screw up like this male God has, and that's absolutely true.
I'm sorry. I don't understand that. Are you
These
saying
guys
that
are
I
not
can't
physicists,
think
by the way.
About the beginning of the universe unless I believe in God? Maybe I misunderstood.
Yeah, just the whole, I mean, looking out at night at the stars and seeing all those stars.
This is not going to go well.
Thinking about them all, and then in the microscopic universe as well, there's like so much going on, and I mean the complexity of this universe
is amazing.
If it originated. Yeah, if it originated from something, it has to be from something that's even greater than it.
Why?
Oh, God,
do you think something less complex can create something more complex? Do you think it doesn't go the other way around? Like if I created a machine, an artificial intelligence, to create better machines and have those machines create better machines, then theoretically you can have something less advanced creating more advanced things over time.
I don't think so. I think if it originated from you, you contained everything that's being multiplied.
Are you a parent, Joe?
A what?
A parent?
That is a great answer.
No, I'm not.
No? So I think that any parents watching are probably strongly disagreeing, because I'm sure there are plenty of parents who can tell you that their children have far exceeded anything they could have done, and they're very proud. I don't think that argument stands up. I think it sounds pretty, but when you put it into practice, I really don't think that holds water, dude.
Well, and Joe, what
he's absolutely right. I got a boy and a girl,
one of the,
and they're both stunningly bright. And my boy in particular
changed me from being a Christian
just
to
got
an atheist
the most incredible intellect.
I was saying
way beyond what I would have ever predicted.
I don't know what else could it be. Therefore, God. And that's the important part, is we don't know what created or birthed, however you want to define it, this universe into existence. So wouldn't you say it's more important to say, hey, I'm not sure what happened, but I'm going to keep looking at this with an open mind until I figure out what did happen, as opposed to just saying, I don't know or understand this, therefore God did it.
Yeah.
Well, only see three possibilities for the origin of the universe.
Okay. What are your three possibilities?
Speaks the non-physicist.
A, there was an ultimate consciousness, like super intelligent.
Okay. What if I told you we could discount that immediately? We can kick that one out immediately.
I definitely would not believe you. But
okay. Okay. Cool. Can you have consciousness without a brain?
Yes.
Show me that consciousness, please.
What a pathetic thing to say. You can have consciousness without a brain. Give a single example.
Is having your consciousness, right? That part of you that is you. That is an emergent property of having a brain, and that consciousness goes away when that brain stops working. And we see that to varying degrees, even with people who have brain damage, and how that changes their consciousness. And so to say there's a consciousness living somewhere out in the universe completely ignores the fact that consciousness is a body is required for it, a brain is required for it. So let's take the first of those options that you said and throw it out the window, because it is not possible. What are your other options?
I mean, I believe it is possible. I think that the brain is a seat of consciousness for the soul, for the spirit. And the brain has to be
Go ahead.
The brain has to be functioning and intact for a certain kind of spirit to inhabit it, and then the spirit will choose to inhabit it.
Okay, so it sounds like you're bringing something new to the table, and I know that we're running a little long on time, and so I want to make sure that we have time for the other callers. But Joe, you just brought spirits into the conversation. What is a spirit? How's that different from a body? What does it do? What qualities does it have? Can I measure it? Can I interact with it? Can I, does it look like something? Is it tangible in any way, or is it just an imaginary friend?
I think it has the shape of a human body in heaven, but
heaven we're going to have to get to another day, because we got too many new things coming in. But I don't think spirits and souls exist.
Same.
And if you do, then I would love for you to bring evidence for it, because like we said at the top of the call, we are having these conversations openly. We're trying to be honest interlocutors, and we have that expectation for our callers. So you have been kind. Your first call, your second call, you've been kind. You are welcome to call back again. I've got to tell you, man, when you came in last time, you came in guns blazing saying atheists do this. And we talked you down off the ledge, and you called in again this week, and it was atheists do this. I want you to know I cannot speak for all of us, because a lot of us are assholes. But I think that's true of humanity.
Yeah, and it's, Joe, the one recommendation I would give, because I have made this mistake, and I'm sure I may make this mistake again, is when I have talked to some Christians, I'll bring in other things Christians have said and attribute to them. I shouldn't be doing that. I should be engaging with the person I'm talking to. So, for instance, find something you want to challenge us on, and then address that directly with us, as opposed to just painting a broad brush and assuming, we all think alike.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Joe, thank you for being my first caller on Talk Heathen, dude. Nice talking to you.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
Talk to you next time.
Take care, guys. Yeah,
have a good one.
Yeah, okay, bye.
Don't know Ethan.
So,
Eric is such a nice guy. I've
really,
chatted
really
to
awesome
him
here,
on Facebook.
But just because of the way
unbelievably
that
nice
conversation
guy.
went,
at least he seems to be.
There's another caller who wants to talk about something very, very similar, and I kind of think that it'd be nice to bring that out. So let me see if I can find this person. Where did they go? There we go. It is Jeff in Washington. Jeff, we were just talking about consciousness. Hey,
Hey, Jeff.
Say hi to Ethan.
How are you guys?
How are you?
Hey, Ethan, how are
Hi,
you?
Jeff.
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
I think I remember you calling last week when I was doing call moderating. Did I speak with you then?
Oh, that might have been you then. Sweet.
Oh, well,
Nice.
nice to talk to you on the air. How's it going?
Hey, for sure. Good.
How's it going, my friend?
All right, so
Hey,
hit us with it. What do you want to talk about?
Okay, you just said that consciousness is an emergent property. I don't think science has actually gotten there yet. There's I think like 4 really big theories, but 2 are the leading ones, because if you take away the dualistic views of what consciousness is, you get rid of dualism and you get rid of the other ones. But 2 that are kind of happening right now is the workspace theory and integrated information theory.
Okay.
And integrated information.
I just wanted to, as you're saying this, I want to make sure we're not losing people, or they're, the eyes glaze over. So as you're talking about integrated information theory, let's make sure we're having a conversation at a level that everybody can kind of pick up and move with us on.
Yeah, definitely. Because when I saw this, I had no idea what it was. So if you could, try and break it down.
So basically, atoms exchange information. They process information.
Process information is different. They exchange information through electromagnetic radiation.
Whether it's on a super small scale, or whether it's on a like you and me scale, or whether it's social structure scale, or whether it's the universe scale. There's all this information being passed off, and there's and I think we keep using
passage of information is not the same as processing of information.
Probably find another word, mostly because we have a hard time defining what consciousness is, let alone life.
I definitely am interested here, because Jeff, my work.
There's a whole bunch of stuff on the web about street epistemology.
Why is this
it's definitely worth watching. And it starts off with the question:
consciousness, and maybe
what do you
a
believe?
little bit more into it, and
what do you believe in?
Keeps us fresh. Keeps us.
And if you try that with somebody,
and make sure that we're not, getting
I got
lazy
one of
on
these
our part.
weird
Sorry, Jeff,
contacts through Skype.
That there's an exchange
I just
of
happened to kind of be attached to Skype, and I got a
call
weird.
that a
Let me just pause
interaction?
this for a sec. I got a weird kind of contact come up on Skype. I'm kind of looking to the side here because it's one of my 3 screens, and it was nobody that I knew. So I look at this attempt to try and contact me, and I typed. I didn't accept the phone call, but when it had stopped, or when I'd cancelled it, I then typed, "Do I know you?" And after a few seconds, the response was no. So my response was, why are you contacting me? And then there's some rubbish about trying to make contact and just chatting. They wanted to just chat to me because I'm just a randomer. And what I said was, and it just so happened, I've been watching some stuff on street epistemology, and I was kind of in the mood. So I said, okay, I'm happy to chat. Tell me anything. It doesn't have to be religion. Don't mention religion. Tell me anything that you're interested in. A single statement about something you're interested in, you believe in, and why do you believe it? And then it went all a bit weird. In the end, they didn't want to do that. They had some idea that they wanted to generate the exchange of photographs, which wasn't going to happen. And in the end, they stopped responding to me and have never contacted me since. Weird. People, weird. Gotta love them, but they're weird.
Correct. So
here's my word.
Okay, you just said that for small scale.
About it and make sure that we're not getting lazy on our part. So sorry, Jeff, when you said that there's an exchange of information,
I agree.
Also just call that a chemical
definitely needs to be taught. Street epistemology needs to be taught to a younger age. Definitely at school.
But when does
that would change the world. Okay, I'm going to pause there as well. One of my students is applying for space camp, and one of the questions gosh, I hope she's not watching this, because I don't want to. Well, I'm not going to mention her name anyway. And one of the questions, you have to answer 6 questions. And one of the questions was, if you could change one thing in the world, what would it be? And why? And I was chatting to her about how I would answer these questions, to give us some ideas of how she would answer these questions. And my comment was, if I had one thing that I could change, it would be skepticism. It would be, I would want everybody in the world to be more skeptical about everything, to use the scientific method to think about where's the evidence for what you believe in, that kind of thing. Because I think then we wouldn't have things like deniers of climate change. That would disappear. That all those people, those are idiots that think that the climate is not changing and that mankind is not part of that process. All those would disappear if they actually looked at the evidence. And in this particular case, another example of what you could do if you wanted to make one change in the world: teach street epistemology or epistemology to people from a very young age to generate skepticism. That would be an amazing idea, Ezgi. I agree with you 100%.
Well, so hold on just a second, because I'll get there. It's just, my worry is that you're anthropomorphizing things, that you're, giving this kind of imagery that implies some kind of agency to chemical interactions. Oh, hey, I brought you the chemical, between your neurons, and hey, hey Bill, hey Bob, here's your adrenaline. We really shouldn't do that, because it gets real weird.
So if you, I agree, and it's kind of like we have these we have no solution to the hard problem, and so we're exploring to try and find, is it emergent, or is it I'm having a brain fart here, but when we say it's an emergent property, but then we look at Maxwell's demons, where Maxwell's demons kind of got pushed off to the side many years ago, but it started to make a comeback, and they're used with nanotechnology. They're able to actually defy the second laws of thermodynamics.
No, they're not. Oh, so annoying. Okay.
Maxwell demons? I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to make sure I heard what you said correctly.
Correct. Maxwell's demons. It's mostly it's along the lines of the
plural.
integrated information theory. It's basically taking nanobytes or nanos,
nanites.
The best answer I can give to why this guy's talking bullshit is, there's a book by Stephen Hawking. It's the last book that was produced, and I kind of know that because he didn't finish it. His family finished it for him, and I guess by his family it was family and friends, and they must have got some physicists to help. And I can't remember the title, but it's something like short answers or small answers. I think it's short answers to big questions. And the first each chapter is like a big question, and it's his comments, Stephen Hawking's comments, thoughts about it. The first one is there a God? The second one is, was there a beginning, like, to the universe? And one of the chapters talks about the origin of life, I think. And it's the second law of thermodynamics is often used in recent years by theists as some argument as to why somehow, science has got it all wrong. The second law of thermodynamics is about entropy. It's about disorder. And it basically states that the amount of disorder in the universe is constantly increasing. And life, of course, kind of goes against that, because life is definitely an ordered state compared to a disordered state. That's the argument is the second law of thermodynamics is broken by the concept of God, which is rubbish. All it shows to a physicist is that the people that are talking about it don't know what they're talking about. If I take some water and I shove it in a freezer, it will freeze. It will turn from a liquid to a solid. That is a more ordered state. So that goes against the second law of thermodynamics, because the amount of order has increased when you freeze water. And the second law of thermodynamics basically states that in any change, the amount of disorder increases. There is a small proviso allowing it to stay the same, but not to decrease. Okay, but the point is, when you freeze some water, look at what the hell happens at the back of the freezer. There's a heat exchanger. It gets hot. That energy that you've removed from the water has to be passed out into the outside world. And you have to look at the amount of disorder created by that heat that's gone out of the back of the freezer. That warms up the room. That makes the air molecules move faster. They are now more disordered than they were. So basically, you've got a system where when you're freezing water, you've got one part of the system where the order is increasing as the water freezes. You've got another part of the system where the order is decreasing. And the question is, where's the balance? Is the increase or the decrease bigger than the other way around? And every time we measure it, the amount of disorder increases, and it's all to do with something called an isolated or a closed system. It basically means take everything into account. When life is created, that is arguably, and probably correctly, that's an increase in order in the system. But the object that has life is not the only part of that system. There's a whole bunch of chemical reactions that occurred in order to create the gametes that become the zygote that then start to separate to form cells, to form more and more cells. That process is not happening in isolation to the mother and the surroundings of the mother. So people just don't know what they're talking about. It does become a mega frustration for a physicist, and I can't extract myself from that process. Most of the time, I can't extract myself from that process. I may as well just admit it. I'd like to say I can, but I can't. It irritates me.
Nanites, thank you.
It's
basically taking nanobytes or nanos,
Nanites?
Nanites, thank you. And
Gotcha.
there's two, like if you take a room and you have a little door that basically these nanobytes will decide whether the high frequency or the low frequencies go to the left or to the right. And just the single little thing is deciding who goes where. And yet
you keep saying decide. If I were to go to like what are those? What are those? Are they Plinko machines? You know, where it's got all the pegs and you drop it down at the bottom. You drop a ball down and it kind of bounces its way down. Are each of the
about chaos theory?
No, I'm specifically responding to something you said, and that is that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries. Does that mean that each of those little bars that it hits on the way down is deciding where the ball's going? Or that the ball's deciding to hit each of those little things?
It's probably more complicated than that than my layman
no worries, but you
handle, because and that's why I'm like I look at science and I've been listening to you guys for probably about 3-4 years now, and
same.
I've run into this consciousness problem that
you need to be here every Sunday.
I understand you guys want to go to the emergent property where consciousness is an emergent, but when I look at other things where whether it's bacteria moving organisms around so that bacteria can get into an even separate organism, like there's something going on that how does that organism know that it wants to get to a third or fourth or fifth
well, it would need cognition to know anything. Again, we're anthropomorphizing.
Right,
please be careful not to do that.
Right, but right, and well, that's why science is trying to study this, and well, so you've got the likes of Tononi, and you've got Bertrand Russell was one of the
Bertrand Russell. Don't go on about
Jeff,
Bertrand Russell.
You gave us a lot, and I think I want to look some of that stuff up. I think it gave me a great starting point to look into something. From what I understand, integrated information theory, while it sounds like it could be interesting, and while there's a lot of math behind it, there has yet to be any falsifiable claims that could be tested because of it, and because of that, it's a good exercise.
Actually, there's a refrigerator that has been made up by these nanobytes, and it's not 100% foolproof because you still have to empty the tank and replenish the tank with nanobytes.
It's a refrigerator that's been made by nanobytes. What does that mean?
Thermodynamics going on. So basically, it's doing it off of the information that
the design was good.
Nanobytes have with each other.
Maybe they had a logo,
which is
nanogen.
No worries, you're anthropomorphizing again. What I suggest, we'll look into this. What I suggest you looking into is microbiology. Because what you're talking about is the interactions of chemicals and how those interactions play out. At no point do you have, a microbe deciding anything.
Maybe not.
Definitely the maybe not part.
I know for sure. I would need to take the time to learn a little bit more about this to dive into this.
Sure. I'm just where I'm going with this is to make a decision you need at a minimum a central nervous system.
Do you?
Can you show me something that makes these
slime mold or other organisms that don't we consider life, but where is the threshold? How low do you go with the brain? So you and me
totally understood. So somebody that's in a coma, are they conscious?
How's that?
Someone that's in a coma, are they conscious?
That's
Are they deciding to breathe still? Are they deciding to pump their heart?
So that's where we have to possibly refigure out what, because you're taking away parts that are integral to the brain. So it's like, okay. So
and you can see now where Jeff's kind of falling apart a little bit.
We will never be able to create a machine that would have consciousness.
How do you know?
Because we would keep building it up.
Go ahead. I think that if it passed the Turing test, I don't know. I think if it passed the Turing test, I might be convinced. But I definitely think that somebody who's brain dead in a coma, but their body's still functioning, is not conscious. And if I wouldn't grant that to somebody who's brain dead in a coma, I'm definitely not going to grant that to a houseplant. And if I'm not going to grant it to a houseplant, then I'm definitely not going to grant it to a slime mold. So that's where I get off the station here, but I don't follow that. But it may just be that our definition.
I understand what, and with the experiments Tononi's been doing, where he's studying actual consciousness when you're asleep and versus when you're awake.
Well, I mean, comas are a little different than when you're asleep, but I think, I'm afraid we're going to get overloaded here. So we're going to take this and we're going to move on.
Yeah.
But Jeff, thank you for calling in. It was just such a good segue from the first call to talk to you.
Yeah,
Eric is so nice.
I don't like that. That with these, and it's not against you, but everyone's trying to link it to the soul, and when it's just basically we have a level of with Tononi, he's saying we have a level of 5. There's just information being passed off with each other, and that's it. That and so
this heaven thing. this
it's not
guy,
going to
Jeff,
answer
I
this whole
agree. This
question.
guy, he wants to go to heaven,
and we don't know.
and he's prepared
so,
to do
like,
whatever
I
it
like
takes,
to
including
say
making
in
an
that
arsehole
we
of
don't know
himself.
until the evidence
Making a
is
fool
there,
of himself on live TV.
so I do try to hold off my
just
belief.
out of interest,
Jeff,
what do you do in heaven?
I think we can both say we agree.
What
with
happens
on
if you
that.
got if there was such a thing? What would you actually do there? You're not going to work, are you?
Same.
You're not going to have
appreciate
to
Nice talking
grind the wheel
Ethan,
to make some money.
Damn it! I dropped it, and I bet.
Presumably, you don't need to eat.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
okay.
Ethan.
He was probably going to say
So
hi.
you're not going to enjoy flavour.
So before we hop onto the next,
You don't need to eat. If you do
I'm
eat, where does
making
it
up for
go?
this.
Does
Can
it
we
just
go to the
disappear,
crew
or do you have to go to the
Yeah,
loo?
don't forget that this time.
Incredible. No, I'm
have
going to do
to
this
drink?
as many times. Hello,
Do you not-
amazing crew. We
I'm just
love
gonna
you.
turn that
Oh,
down a
you're
sec.
incredible. I'm not going to forget this.
Don't want to turn it off.
And if you look, on the right side,
Do you drink?
our president in audio.
Is there a point? Is there a meaning to it? What would you actually do if there was such a thing as a heaven? What would you actually do?
And I can't wait to go play in the snow after the show.
You get unlimited wine. What if you don't like wine? Can you get unlimited spirits? As in, like, not spirits, but like spirits like whiskey.
There we go.
Can you have unlimited whiskey? And do you get drunk?
All right.
Can you drink so much wine that you actually get drunk and feel ill and throw up? Or can you not feel ill
See if I can
in heaven?
see up. There we go.
And if you can't feel ill in heaven because of too much alcohol, then what's the alcohol doing to you? What's the point? And I'm not saying the point of drinking alcohol is just to get drunk. That's not my point. But the sensory impact of these chemicals on us is part of why we want to do it. It isn't always that, especially when you get addicted, I guess. But you drink all the time, you don't feel ill. I think, if I'm honest, feeling ill is part of the process. That's sometimes the moderator, and you need a moderator. Or why don't you just kind of like stay drunk constantly but never feel ill? I can't quite see the point. So is the idea that if you went to heaven, you're just in a drunken stupor constantly? If you loved alcohol, you're just going to live in a drunken stupor all the time.
I realized that every church was condemning the other church to hell. Like the Seventh Day think, anyway, let me not generalize all Seventh Days, but you know what I mean.
Not go to hell.
Some aspect of the religion, you're
Totally
going
understood.
to the version of hell. So
Ethan, do you remember that?
yeah, so that for me,
I don't, unfortunately.
No?
The fear. Sorry, the fear of hell.
Oh no. The looking at other churches and they're not Christians. No. They don't have it right. Those Catholics, they're worshiping false idols and those.
We're on the edge of the no true Scotsman.
on Saturday, the Sabbath, right?
So I was never one of those like no true Christian people. I was more like I wasn't heavily into Christianity, and I'm sure many would say I wasn't a true Christian. Most of my indoctrination was very conservative political. So for me, it was much easier for me to give up my belief in God than give up my conservative Republican stripes. Like that took time and hard work.
Oh, so sorry about that.
So there's that.
Okay, go ahead.
There's that aspect where everyone thinks the next person, the other church is going to hell. My church thinks a lot of other churches are going to hell.
Sure.
And so at that point, it made hell kind of meaningless to me. And so I'm at this point where I'm not so much into the health stuff. I'm not so much into the ritual. I go when I want to go and when I'm able to. But my big question is I've come across a lot of theists like myself who say, I experience mental health issues. I go through major depressive disorder, but the only thing that's keeping me alive, I know the scripture says this and this and this. I imagine myself like Job fighting against this mental health issues, and God wants me to win them, And so it's like, even though the logic might make sense as to why someone should not be so religious or be a theist, how do you deal with that existential piece? Is my question, without affecting people's mental health, because I've heard several people were like, I'm going through this really tough time, and I feel suicidal, but I would never do it because I'm afraid of hell or because I'm afraid of this, so how do you address that in a way that is helpful? Yeah.
I'm so glad you called this weekend. You're talking to two people who openly talk about mental health and what we go through as well. So you called on a great weekend. Ethan, did you want to go first or do you want me to?
No, please.
Okay. So you talk about purpose. You mentioned purpose, and I know it talks about purpose in the call notes. So I'm going to go with that. The idea that you have a purpose ascribed to you, and that is super important. I really want to challenge that. So there are plenty of societies where parents arrange marriages for their children, and that is your purpose. You were given that purpose, and you have to marry someone. This idea of being married for love is something new. If you were assigned a spouse to marry, somebody to marry that you didn't know or didn't like, would you consider that your purpose? Would you find that meaningful?
Well, it depends. I mean, I think there are many ways that parents can communicate that. If it's obviously in a very dictatorial fashion, but if you believe that there's something greater that's supposed to be achieved once you marry this person, like maybe it will help keep your family safe, or some nations will unite and the wars will stop, or something. You know what I mean? It depends.
Yeah. In this example, the higher power is your parents. They're the ones that are above you, that are making the decision for you. I mean,
right. But the thing is, the thing is, like, I'm not so sure if maybe a heaven might exist, but not a hell.
Okay, well, I mean, we can get to the heaven and hell part, but I definitely kind of want to drill down a bit on the purpose part, because I think we can, flesh this out just a little bit more. I really think
the purpose part, right? What is the purpose of me following God? Isn't the purpose for me to get to heaven and not hell?
The idea of purpose at all, right? What is purpose? It's your sense of what you should be doing, what your, the idea that there is cosmic purpose, that there's some grand plan that you're a part of. I liken it to being told, hey, you're going to win the lottery at the end of the week. The problem is everyone's racking up debt, assuming they're going to win the lottery. That's the issue. And so, and on Friday, when you don't make the money, when you don't get the money, you're upset because it's like, God, I was supposed to get this, right? I don't think they ever had a heaven to give you in the first place.
Well, and I guess you could say I'm one of the lucky ones, because I know a lot of people struggle with hell and heaven, especially when they come out of religion. For me, it was a huge relief, like a weight off my shoulders. Like, I don't think heaven and hell exists anymore. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to worry about my life right now and live my life to the fullest. So why focus so much on heaven or hell?
Well, on that point then, okay, so then where does someone find the meaning? Let's say your whole meaning was, I'm following these rules because there's some predetermined end that is supposed to be glorious and I'm going to be singing, or I don't know, however people picture their heavens in different denominations, but this is why I'm following these rules, this is why I exist, pretty much,
Well, I think you deciding that for yourself is incredibly powerful. I think I was talking to my roommate, Holy Kool-Aid, at one point, and he brought up that there's this little fish, and what it does is it spends its life building a nest out of rocks. And every time the tide goes in and out, it messes up its little nest. And so it goes and it picks up each little rock by its mouth, using its mouth, and builds this little nest, all with the intent of someday getting laid and then dying. And if it did that thing, I assume that fish is happy as hell, in as much as a fish can be happy. I mean, it doesn't matter what your purpose is, but setting it out for yourself.
But Eric, right? Some people might enjoy being servile, I think.
Sure.
Like having this, and
servile.
if you have to set it for yourself, it implies some sort of like not serve out. I think that's a very bad way of putting it. But like you're serving this being that you have no control over. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, then do what we're doing
for myself.
Well, then do what we're doing. Support a nonprofit. There are so many organizations that have actual, work that they're doing to make this world a better place, to make it more comfortable, to get rid of disease and starvation, to help one another. It is snowing, and I'm enjoying the snow, and yet I know that now I'm just thinking about it. There are homeless people here in Austin. I bet they're not enjoying the snow.
Oh.
I think
you could consider serving people in the world as like kind of a purpose.
Wouldn't you consider that to be a pretty damn good purpose?
I would, but I just think it's not as intense as the religious one. At least the one I was raised in, fundamentalist Pentecostalism. Like that is very intense. It's like God is always waiting to condemn you.
Yeah. But I agree with Ethan. I know Ethan's waiting to talk, so I'll let him go. But I just wanted to echo what Ethan said first. Ethan, I nailed it for me. And I used to have this fear that I'm going to meet the one and I'm going to mess it up. And then I'm boned. I met the one and I messed it up. And that was the one person put on earth for me. And I hit a point where I was in a terrible breakup, and I thought just that. And realizing that there's not a one person helped a lot.
Same. And I think the best meaning and you can get out of life is helping other people. On one end, I want to say, hey, don't spend so much time worrying about God, even though I'm sitting here, on a show talking about God. But at the same time, focus on everything you have. Like, start looking at everything going on right now, your family, your friends, the people you talk to. Like, if you can, put that energy into helping the people around you, because this world is a great place. It's got its setbacks. There are problems, but if we just all loved each other, not to sound too hippy-dippy, but if we just loved each other a little bit more, dude, we could make this world way better.
But Ethan, it doesn't sound as great as heaven, does it?
Why not? So to me, that sounds better. Knowing
sound as great
if
as
I
heaven.
die, knowing that I made a positive impact on people's life. Or for instance, like on my personal Facebook, I upload goofy dance videos because I like making people laugh. Like knowing that I have been able to take away people's mental pain just for a moment, that is great. Like that is one of the greatest feelings you can ever feel, in my opinion, and far more powerful than God. Taking away other people's pain. That should be enough.
I mean, it sounds very much like being upset that you didn't get the $1 million on Friday. I mean, it's understandable, but we got to move past it. What is it? 1 Corinthians 13:11. I know it sucks to quote, but it was a good quote, and that is, when I was a child, I thought as a child, I spoke as a child, I walked, thought, and spoke, I believe, like a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. We need to put it away.
You're literally putting away the thing that he's defending. That's funny.
Well, but I think it's absolutely fair. I thought as a child. It's time to put away childish things, especially when we have a world with people in need, where we can help each other, where we can actually see the work that we're doing, and we can be a part of making that world a better place.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you so much. You guys have given me a lot to think about. Thank you.
Thank you for calling, Mason. You have a good day too.
I liked her.
Yeah,
it's just a damn... Ethan, you were just attracting good people today, man. I'm stoked.
Dude, these are the people I like talking to. Like, I don't like arguing or yelling. Like, I just want to have friendly conversations with other people and understand why they believe what they believe.
You, sir, have just a calming effect on me that I really appreciate. You're just keeping me super, super level and chill. So, before we move on to the next call, it's It's already 2/3 of the way through the episode. Oh, can you freaking believe how quickly that came?
I know, it's flying. I've been freaking out for like 2 weeks. Like, oh my God. And when you and V were giving that introduction for me at the end of the episode last week, I was literally like, oh my God. Like, I was jumping up and down. I was like, I can't actually believe this is happening.
And yet you have amazing people on your show. You do a call-in show. You have the Heathen and Jenna show. You have all of these different projects that you're a part of. And the great thing is you keep doing this, and I'm sure people are having the exact same reaction meeting you.
I hope so. And, you know, if I could, to the audience, one of the reasons I waited so long is because I'm like, you know, you hear people like Eric and V and Jenna talk, and you're like, these people are so knowledgeable, so smart. I can't do what they can do. Well, yes, you can, and you can do it in your own way. You don't have to, you know, one of my first videos, I tried emulating other YouTubers, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to be me on camera. We need more voices out there. So if you can be a voice, don't ever think you don't know enough. You can learn, you can progress.
And on that note, I am going to show this, which is, this is live. The Atheist Experience is in 50 minutes time. So it's 21:40 now, so that's 22:30, 10:30 UK time. I'm going to stop this now, and I will start streaming again live, watching the Atheist Experience live in 50 minutes 24 seconds. Thank you.